What did you do when, Papa? What did you try to do? We're taking a stance. We cannot allow my banks from the westernized countries to come here and manipulate our rand. It's too late in Asia. Yes. Oh, you want that term? It is.
Oh wait, what's up, my good people? I hope you guys are doing good.
If you bought it, then let's go. But the casting you bang and next so. Pick up my heat by a color next door. We be sliding like a wet floor. Slide, slide, slide. Guess what I'm trying to do? Slide, slide, slide. Guess what I'm trying to do? Slide.
Away. What's happening, my good people? I hope you guys are doing good. Go by the name of Junior, some know me as Woo, but whatever it is between the two, I'm now with that. Welcome to Keeping It Kasi. Welcome to the place where we support local talent. So in today's episode, yeah man, Baba,
with the one and only, bruh. Yeah, I go by the name of Magic King, but then my real name is Jacob Nkuna. I'll be representing the youth today. Danko.
So this is season 2. We had Major King on season 1, which was episode 2, right?
Danko.
Episode 2, yeah. So on today's episode, yeah man, it's going down.
Yeah, it's gonna be a quite complicated episode because we'll be expounding the material conditions on the ground. We'll be talking about the issues that are affecting the youth. That's what we'll be discussing basically, and the importance of the youth engaging in politics.
Yeah,
those are the issues we'll be touching on.
Not me saying it. It's going down today. It's legit going down. So yeah, man, Major. I know, man, you did introduce yourself on the first episode, but I need you to introduce yourself now and let the people know what you're doing now.
So basically now, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, but most of all, I'm an activist, a student activist because I'm at school. Got introduced to politics in 2021. Then I started engaging in politics, and let me just say I'm an activist, just to sum it up in simple terms.
You're an activist now.
Yeah, I'm an activist. I'm a musician and an activist.
Musician and activist. And how is it going, bro?
In terms of academic-wise?
Yeah, in terms of everything.
Okay, in terms of academics, we're trying, bro. We'll just keep on trying. But then, music-wise, I'm currently on a break. I've been on a break since I came here on the first episode because really, it's quite difficult for some of us to actually balance the both of music and academics, and So right now I'm taking a break. But then I've decided to actually start making music this year. I'll release something, maybe an EP or something like that.
Yeah, we need one, dog. We have a problem here, 12/6, a serious problem. Most of our dope artists, bruh, they taking breaks out there. Some of them are retiring.
No, man, it's actually quite important, bruh, just to take some time off, to rethink your entire brand. Actually think it's okay how to maneuver around the streets of Sabi, how to maneuver around the streets of MP, or generally how to maneuver around the streets of South Africa, because when we're outside Sabi, when you're out of Sabi, you get to be exposed to a lot of things, and then you learn new strategies, new ways. Exactly. Then now you have to rebrand and re-strategize as an artist. And you decide it's okay, bruh, I cannot be moving Lendlela is pana maybe when I'm at a certain level, when I'm maybe mangla isabi ang spanela, but then at some places I'm spanela, so I have to change my strategy. So you need some time off to rethink your entire brand. That's why we're always taking breaks, and it's very important to actually take a break, brand.
True there. I took I won't say I took a break, an actual break. With me, I just took some time off because I didn't have equipment at that time. It was last year. Didn't have equipment. But due to that, I started learning also, as you say, rebranding, checking yourself, checking how you want to reach people out there. I also started thinking different now. I'm like, okay, am I gonna do the smash or pass? I'm not bashing anyone who's doing smash or pass or anything because I have people that I know, I can't say friends, people that I know that are doing the smash or pass and stuff like that, and it's successful for them.
It works for them.
It works for them. But then for me, I started thinking, who am I? Who is Junior actually? Where do I want to be? So I understand that, dog. So my man, Yeah, man, I don't know, dog. Should I ask you questions or should we just continue flowing?
But then vandaag we won't be discussing music a lot because after all, just like we wanna now I'm one person who's governed by the teachings of Hugh Masekela, the late Hugh Masekela, may his soul rest in peace. I'm guided by his teachings, and vandaag I'll be paraphrasing, by the way. I won't be using the terms that he used. Because as musicians, our duty must not be to entertain people only. We must also conscientize the masses. We must also remind the masses. It must not be about romance, dancing, and all that. No. We must also remind the masses about the socio-economic issues that we are faced with. So today I'm actually here representing the youth. I'll be talking on behalf of the youth as an activist, just like I've said before. I'll actually be the voice of the people. About the importance of engaging in politics first and foremost. And we'll be expounding on the material conditions on the ground, how things are structured right now, why is it important for the youth to actually engage in politics. That's what we'll be focusing on mostly. Vandaag.
True. So before we get to that, there are some few questions, maybe 2 or 3. So the first one is, can you please tell us, man, we're in Sisekasi.
Yep.
Can you please tell us how do you view, since now you went out from Kasi, right? And then you went to school. When you go to school, it's a different lifestyle from where you from to where you at. So when you're in school, you see the world different. Now you start to see the things that we were missing out, Masekasi. And then now when you come back from home, what was the first thing in your mind when you stepped aside and you're like, okay, now I'm home? What was the first thing in your mind when you started seeing the surrounding where you grew up?
One thing I've noticed, Bra, is that wherever you go across the country, the struggles of a black child remain the same. Whether you're in Joburg, whether you're in Cape Town, whether you're in Durban, wherever, Bra, the struggles of the black child will remain the same.
True.
And it's quite difficult. It's actually sad within the education space or the education sector, because that's where you get to realize when as the marginalized or as a child from the dejected communities like Posimile. I'm not saying Simile is bad, by the way, but then we are a dejected community. That's a fact. So as you move out of Sabi, get to other places, you tend to realize, because man, there's a lot that we need to address. We're affected by how the system is structured, how politics are structured in this country affects us a lot. Because as a black child, we'll start on the education sector. Because already we have touched on academics. You get to realize, each and every year, close to 700,000 students sit for a matric exam. They sit Pali exam in matric, and out of that 700,000 students, maybe 500,000 will qualify to enroll at a higher learning institution, right?
True.
But then, although you qualify, each and every year you get the stats, actually, 200,000 students were admitted at higher learning institutions, whereas 500,000 students qualify to be at higher learning institutions, meaning close to 300,000 students. What's that? They'll take a gap year in Nkani because we're not well capacitated as a country. Our country is not well capacitated to actually admit all those students. That's part of the first struggles that we're facing as Tinama youth that comes from the dejected communities. Secondly, you get into institutions like NSFAS. By the way, before we dwell too much on NSFAS, I want to raise a fact to those ones who are in matric right now, that they must actually apply for other bursaries, because this year is going to be quite difficult, guys. NSFAS is planning to reduce the budget they are planning to reduce to cut the budget with 21 billion, meaning close to 46,000 students won't have funding this year.
True.
These are first years who are writing an exam. Remember, I already told you the stats that close to 700,000 people are sitting for an exam, and 500,000 students, learners, will qualify to enroll at a higher learning institution, but then only 200,000 will get admitted. So that should tell you something, Praguti. My politics are affecting us as a youth directly. We are the ones who are actually suffering from this the atrocities of politics are affecting us as a youth. And Tina, as a youth, we are shying away from the fact that we are being affected by politics. Politics play an influence on our life.
True.
Yeah. So on top of that, to add on some of the things that I've said, what's this? There's something that I wanted to touch on as well. Very important issue. I cannot leave it out. Okay. I've already mentioned like the demographics on how people are enrolling and how people get admitted at higher learning institutions. So you get people who want F funding. They're qualified to be at a higher learning institution. On top of that, our system is structured into two. Our education system, based from basic to and higher learning, it's actually one system. But then our basic education system is structured into two. And this basic education system does not favor me and you, Bud. Tinelaba NSC, who sit the 700,000 learners that sit for an exam, are favored by the system, because you get this IEP, those ones who are privileged, cure and all that. Their results get released earlier than ours. Meaning, bonabatoli admission in my universities. Remember, I already told you, 200,000 students get admitted. Meaning, it's not us, the NSC, by the way. We don't make up that 200,000. Maybe it's not majority, it's not 50%, but then we don't make up the entire number. Most of them who are going to get admitted there is those ones who come from IEP. Those ones whose results they get released earlier than ours. So Tina will remain marginalized as Banbasekas. That's what I've noticed thus far. And then, meaning we'll have the number of people who won't get access to higher learning education. It's very high. It's extremely high. We'll have people who are unemployed, like Lokshinle too. And mind you, Isabi, we know we are struggling with employment. It's a place that is very unfavored when it comes to employment. Then we'll have dropouts. People are going to our youth, they are exposed to matrax. We've seen what happens if you don't get employed. You get the pressure from England. We are not adding income. When what. At the end of the day, we'll be exposed to matrax. Like now, so it's okay. Let me just go and find something to distress, because it's now exactly, and that's now in my recreational centers whereby maybe netball, something to keep yourself busy, man, just for the entire gap year. Because now we end something with your life. We don't have those such centers in our location. So that's part of the issues that I want to expound on and touch on, Vandag. Yeah, and I've already spoken a mouthful.
You've said a mouthful, dog.
Already said. See, I'm actually taking over the interview, which is very wrong.
It's actually cool, yes, because it shows good. See, throughout the whole year you've been doing something. Throughout the whole year you've been doing your research and stuff like that.
Exactly,
and okay, before I want to give you the platform, dog.
Yep.
I am going to give you the platform to say and to spit facts, because we have to spit facts.
There's a lot of my mind. I have to speak. We're bound to speak about these issues, bro.
I feel one thing that I've noticed throughout like last year. Yep. I also was one of the, I qualified to go to the higher institutions, right?
Yep. You were favored, by the way. You should be grateful, bro.
Yeah, well,
anyway, you can carry on. Sorry to
too much though. So I qualified to go to high institutions, right? So to go study somewhere else. Yeah. I qualified for that. I qualified in a number of universities, but then the problem that I had, personally, was the funding part. There was an issue where, okay, now I'm getting a bit personal, but yeah, you understand.
Bound to be, bro.
There was an issue where whenever the schools would send me an email, okay, come through, here's you have to apply for a funding, yada stuff like that. So I tried applying for NSFAS. I did apply for NSFAS, and then NSFAS rejected me 2 times though. I did less scam to fire on my careers. So I did put in my Thomas details, put in that, and then I got rejected because of the I think they check the financial background.
Yep.
And then they said we qualified to pay for the fees. But then they say you qualify, but then when you look at home, you actually don't qualify. And I'm like, hey, this thing is depriving a lot of people, because they think our parents can qualify for it, although they cannot qualify for it. Although maybe at some point they had a job that was okay, sufficient, they could pay at that time. But then since jobs don't last, especially when it comes to a job, they don't.
In this current state of
you see the way things are going, they don't qualify. So I was like, hey, my man, what else am I going to do? I started seeing my other peers from different schools, most of them from IEP schools. It's IEP. Most of them
those ones
that
are always favored by the system.
Yeah.
I won't shy away from that. It's a fact.
It's something that was now, it's not their choice is that their parents thought earlier than our parents.
Yeah, they thought earlier they had the means. Remember, they had the means.
They had the means to do it. So I sat there for like a couple of months, I think 3 months, nyana, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take a gap year. Yeah, but within that gap year, I was like, you know what, I can't find finding, but then I know I'm gonna find something else within the process.
Exactly.
And then that's where I started realizing, see, sihleli ekasi dog. There's a thing where we know the system the system doesn't favor us at all.
Does not favor us at all.
Yes, but then one thing that we have the advantage of the internet now.
Yeah.
We have the advantage of the internet. I was able to find a learnership, like this other program, Within Code. It gives you like an opportunity. You go there, you write the test first. If you pass the test, you go there through 1 week probation, and they see what's happening. If you qualify, you enter in the school, and they give you a stipend of, I think it's 2,000. I don't know now if it has gone up.
Yeah.
They give you a stipend of 2,000. I went there, left Mpumalanga, I went to Jozi because I found that opportunity, right? Got there, I did the thing, did the shandies, went through the stages of it, and then I had a problem again. And you know, there's only one problem that we have: finance.
Exactly, the means, resources.
The only problem is the finance. The finance is the problem. Because now I found the learnership with it. Learnership pays you good, 2,000. I'm not saying I'm adding my problems on top. Mara usachozi dog. Rent yako 1.5 top and ish.
So you're just working for your rent basically.
Yeah, boy. And like you just going there wire for
what I mean.
I chose to like, you know what? It's shy.
If I like.
Yeah, if I it's the more that was Scotland somewhere else.
Exactly.
But one thing I want to bring out is that although the system doesn't favor us, but we have one advantage with it. We have the internet.
That's one thing that's not captured currently.
It's
one thing that we can actually maneuver upon. You know, we can actually dollar whatever you want to dollar through the internet as the youth. Because I'm here, remember, I'm representing the youth. I'm here to speak on behalf of the youth. So at least we still have a platform that we can actually push our own narrative, push our own agendas as the youth. But the problem is, Tina, as a youth, we're not moving as a collective. Even right now, for instance, if I can ask you right now, we're close to 4 in this room. If I can ask all the people who are in this room right now, that are they decisive as the youth right now? We are representing the youth. Like, who are you going to vote for next year? I'm not pushing my own personal agendas. Exactly. Who are you going to vote for? I'm asking on behalf of the youth. You as the youth, are you having discussions regarding these issues? Who are you going to vote for? Yes. So like, who are you going to vote for as a youth? They won't give you a decisive answer. Others will tell you, good thing, we are going to actually distance ourselves from politics. We're not engaging in politics. To hell with politics. You know, if you study the stats, I don't have the actual numbers, but then we can actually try to find the numbers, and you'll actually try to upload something there. You'll put it there. But then, from the studies that I made, or the research that I made last year, I found out that according to IEC, the youth has the potential to make up a huge proportion of the voters for 2024 elections, right? But then out of the youth, and it's by the way, I'm talking about people who are actually eligible to vote. They are eligible to vote. It's people who are 18 to 24. It's the youth. It's the youth, right? It's us, the generation M2K, Amapiano, what. Yes, so we qualify to vote. But then out of those people, you may find out that the studies are showing that close to 10 million, right, are not registered to vote. 10 million people are not registered to vote in a country that has close to 62 million, with a population of 62 million. 10 million people are not registered to vote. Not eligible, they are not registered, meaning they are just distancing themselves from
the 10 million. I didn't register last
You must register to vote, please. It's very important. Right now, I've already expounded on NSFAS. There's a lot of things, that are going on in this country that are affecting us as the youth directly, including the entertainment sector, by the way.
Baba.
We're affected, like you get institutions like SAMRO, It's us, the youth, who are always submitting our music, my radio stations, who are begging for airplays. But then, due to the corruption of some institutions like Abo Samro, because they are pushing their own mandates, they are corrupt. Tina youth unfavored. The musicians, the marginalized musicians, Basekasi, who are trying to make a living out of music. We are being deprived of our royalties. We are a case even like us. I won't even mention the names. People who got played my radio airplays. When you ask those people, split sheets, are you receiving your royalties? We are playing on radio. We are hearing you. We are playing via national radio, by the way, not those radio stations, developing radio stations. National radio, where you are supposed to get paid as an artist, they are not getting paid. It's us, the youth, who are directly affected. We are making music each and every time. So it's part of the issues that we are going to discuss, Vandag. And it's touching me.
You've already tapped.
Exactly. So right now I moved from academics and went to the music sector. Speaking of the music sector, like, to show that we have a government that is not prioritizing the youth in a way, you get institutions like Abo IEC who are not even taking the democracy, who are not taking the sovereignty of this country. You're going to serious sovereignty of South Africa, because right now they are not making, those aggressive campaigns, like trying to involve the youth in politics, inspiring them or motivating them to actually engage in politics and vote. The IEC itself, you can say that they are part of the problem, because right now you cannot be campaigning through back doors, bruh. They should have been making rounds right now all over these communities by influencing youth to tell them, good guys, you must vote. You are the one who have the power, because they have the stats. They've uploaded the stats. They are saying, good bona, out of a population age of 62 million people, and within the 62 million people, 24 something million. I don't have the stats. That's why I said you should upload, because I don't like talking. I like basing whatever I utter according to facts.
Make you fire a little pressure, my fact
exactly.
Checker.
Fact checker. We need a fact checker.
So fact checker, no.
what I'm saying is that IEC should be across these locations, to the dejected communities that are affected most by politics and thought. They should be here right now, creating maybe something like my competitions, trying to inspire even the artists. They can try to inspire them or motivate them to actually partake in politics. And because now you can undermine me when I was a local artist whatsoever, but maybe I have 10 people within my platform. Maybe I can influence 10 people. You don't know. And then if IEC, you can say, how about we manipulate our budget and say our budget must try to involve my artists right now, my local artists, and say, how about we invest within those local artists right now, because my elections are upon us, and tell them to try make thingoma like maybe music about my elections, inspiring youth to vote. And then we create a competition and say, within those people will have the grand winner, or the grand prize would be maybe 50,000 or 10,000. You can create your own studio. You can, as an artist, a local artist, you can start your own thing. We not engage on these competitions, a rapper with, reminding people, hey guys, you must vote, you must vote, you must vote, you must vote. It can actually be an aggressive campaign, because each and everywhere, like us, from our micro level, like Lokshin, but over music, all across the location, but over music, like let's vote, guys. See youth, see the power, we have the power, we have 10 million, we see 10 million, we can actually manipulate, not even manipulate, for lack of a better term, you can actually change the demographics or change the dynamics of politics in South Africa. You can actually change the country for the better. And thought, if you can make music, Tina, as my local artist, inspired by IEC, by the way, but creating my competitions, just like I've said, it's okay. How about we pump money on these artists from local level, provincial level to national level? Even national level is very important, because we have the likes of, I don't like mentioning brands, but then you can see, because right now, my piano, they're making waves. Those artists have influence. If they can say right now we're wearing a certain brand, if they can say right now we're wearing Keeping It Kasi, everyone's going to wear Keeping It Kasi, because they saw maybe a certain individual or a certain artist from Amapiano doing this and that. If you can use those artists when as IEC to say, okay, how about we use these artists to push a narrative, to say, entice the youth, tell them to partake in politics, inspire them to vote. Because we are the ones who have actually the platform. Politicians don't have the platform. In as much as they may think they have the influence, they don't have the influence. It's musicians that have the influence. It's influencers that have the influence.
So do you believe that the media, is like shaping, is giving like politics a bad name? Do you believe that?
I believe that the media can actually change politics, can actually change all the demographics. Right now, we're living in an era where the media is the governing factor, bruh. Right now, no, the media space, especially the digital space, to be specific, I don't want to say media. You get on my podcasts, you get internet, TikTok, all these platforms. They can actually drive a narrative. So if we can have an aggressive campaign from the youth, saying, hey guys, say vote, reminding the people of the struggles that we are faced with as the youth, reminding them of the budget cuts of NSFAS. Oh, it's fine. It's flu, we're sick. Reminding the youth, good day guys, who's in matric, we are going to a high learning institution, we are going to be faced with these problems this year. Close to bruh. You're on 200,000. I already mentioned that. 46,000 people stand to lose funding. Others won't even get funding at all.
Myself included.
46,000 students. 46,000. This meaning right now we are collapsing 46,000. These are people, by the way, who come from the dejected families. Others, babana in as my breadwinners. Because this one will change our families. This one will actually change our family for the better. They'll actually improve the status quo. They'll improve how we're living as a family. And then you get an institution like NSFAS. People who are pushing their own mandates, who are pushing corruption, and we have to link these people. We have to ask ourselves as a youth, who actually appoints a CEO of NSFAS? Okay, who appoints a CEO of NSFAS? You have to ask those questions when, as a youth, before you say I'm distancing myself from politics. Who appoints the CEO of NSFAS? Okay, it's the Minister of Higher Education. Who's presiding over the Minister of Higher Education? It's the President of the country, because he is the one who appoints the cabinet. Who deploys the president of the country? Which political party deploys the president of the country? Then you when you reach your own conclusion, then you have to ask yourself as a youth, am I going to keep quiet, as a youth, considering the fact that things are the way they are currently? Then I must just pull back and keep quiet and not try to partake and not try to use that X. You see that X, bruh? That X.
Says a lot.
People, when white as it's just it's X, it's nothing.
Yeah.
That X has the power to actually collapse this country, or build this country, or improve this country, make it become a well-developed state. Just one X. It may take one X. I'm telling you, maybe one party has 1 million votes, others million. Then you are the determining fact. They just need your vote. Just one vote can actually maybe that 1 million, that one party has a mandate to collapse this country. The other party has a mandate to actually build the country good to be better. Then there's you. You are the determining factor. You have one vote. They are relying on your one vote. Which, like, one vote can actually collapse this country or build this country to become better, a better state for the marginalized masses, the proletariat, the marginalized working class. Can actually favor them, or it can actually work against their faith. It's you with that vote. It may happen. We may find ourselves in such a situation. So when I don't think withdrawing from politics will actually change the state, address the issues that we are faced with as a youth. You can actually, that's why I'm motivating the youth to actually partake in politics. You cannot shy away from politics. I always preach that gospel. You cannot shy away from politics. We're bound to engage, even as my musicians, we affected the most in politics, because I've already mentioned this whereby they're depriving us of my royalties because people went there, they saw the cookie jar, they said we are going to eat. They saw an opportunity to capitalize, an opportunity for self-enrichment and unfavor us as a youth. So proud, we cannot shy away from politics. The youth must partake in politics. We ought to partake in politics, and we'll actually take it. We can even take it back to how these issues arose until we can take it back from how they arose until vandaag. To how did we end up where we are? We can actually take it back in a way, but then we can carry on right now.
I was talking with my friend about this when we were talking about should we add like politics into part of the topics of the podcast this year. And then we were talking about it. One thing that we talked about was that we as the youth are afraid to make decisions sometimes. Like, it's good, as you said, that we're not decisive or indecisive. So now at some point, and then the next thing when it's time to actually do the deed, we're like, hey, Yeah, we're afraid to make the decisions. One thing that I feel, the reason why I said, do you feel like the media is playing a very powerful role in the way we as the youth perceive politics, is that the way nowadays you open the news and faith for 404 or SAPC 1 going down, all you hear about is Minister of what was arrested for fraud. Minister of Home Affairs was arrested for fraud. Now, all we think about, to be honest, we are a good generation. Let's be straightforward. We are a good generation to a point where whatever we do, if we succeed, we know my success is somebody else's success. The person who's behind me, that's my success. If I get proper funding for this podcast, for everything, I get proper funding, I know I'll be able to hire the 2 people that are behind the camera now. I'll be able to know, you know what, this person needs to go to school, this person needs what. I know through this, they're getting paid. We're creating Job creation. Now, meaning that we're stopping a whole lot of things. That's how I look at things. That's why I'm like, okay, should I join politics or should I not join politics? And then now I feel, I was reading this other book by I remember, when was it? Was it 2021 when we were visited by David Mabu? David Dube. Was it David Dube or David?
The former premier of Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
David Mabu's.
David.
Yes. David Mabu's.
It wasn't David Mabu. The one that came to our June 16. Dube.
Yeah, the one who wrote a book.
Yes, the one.
I forgot his name. Sorry for that.
We apologize.
Exactly.
Dube. Mr. Dube said it. Yeah, well, that book that I read, it was explaining a lot about the corruption that happens.
Day-to-day
like
corruption.
Now it's no longer about helping, but it's more of personal gain, as you say at first. So now, as the youth, it's not that we don't see that, we see that. Yeah, well, we want to empower our communities, we want to change that. But the fact you would see, the way politicians are perceived out there. I don't want to be 40-something, my dog, and now I'm going to be like trashed in front of the media. What are my kids going to think now? You think about the future, you think about a whole lot of things, because I'm a public figure now. Somebody out there, we don't know, after 2 years of doing this, someone will try to trash my name. And say, this is winner 1, 2, 3. Think about the people that are behind you, the family and stuff like that. Now you think, okay, I'm going to be a politician. At some point my family has to suffer from this. Although I may be trashed social media wise, let's just say we're just putting it there. I'll be trashed social media wise. Think about my kids. When they go to school, hey, your father's a thief. Your father's stealing our money. Which I'm just putting it in that way. That's what we are afraid of. Because there are tycoons out there who are getting money from this.
I understand.
And imagine going up there. Now, the book said it, there are politicians that lost their lives. There are politicians that lost their job. Politicians who can't be employed anymore because they ventured into politics. And when they ventured there, there's somebody out there, top dog.
Who's going to close the tap?
Who's going to close everything, gatekeep you from being a human being.
Exactly.
So now, that's what we're afraid of, my man. We hear everything, though. We want this. We want education. We want funding. We want all of this stuff. And we see what's happening out there. But we are afraid. Even now, you can say there's a party that's going to destroy the country. There's a party that's going to build the country. From what we see from the media, dog, all of these parties are the same.
Okay, let me just ask something, bro. That's why I don't rely on the media. The media is always driving a narrative. I will dwell too much on that as I carry on with my train of thought. But then the media is always driving a narrative, bruh. Have you currently, since we're approaching national elections and provincial elections, have you given yourself time to actually study or make a research on the manifestos of the political parties? And say, I won't listen to what the media is saying. Let me just engage with them, all of them. From the ruling party, the current ruling party, and all the parties that are within the opposition benches, and say, let me just give myself time to read their manifestos and understand, try to see how will it entice us as the youth. How will it benefit us as the youth? How will their manifesto benefit us as the youth? All of them. Have you given yourself time to do that? Because they tell you, those you see politicians, they do tell you, okay, Tina, that's what we're planning. They give you a manifesto, they give you, it's more of a proposal. Yeah, they propose, before you vote for them, they give you a long proposal. You must give yourself time to read those proposals, all of them. Because that's how, and by the way, this is going to be the longest ballot in the history of ballots since 1994 in this country. We'll have the longest ballot, meaning we're going to have close to 40, if not 50 political parties contesting for the national elections. So, and right now they are going to capitalize on the indecisive youth. Because they see good we're indecisive and we don't have a clear stance. Good, okay, who are we voting for? And those people don't care about our grievances because it's close to 40 people. The parliament comprises of 400 seats, and it's 400 seats. Those people don't care about the youth. You cannot change the grievances of the youth with one seat. That's a fact. You need seats. You need as many seats as you need to be in the majority benches. So right now they're trying to cause a division. They're trying to cause more of a confusion within the youth because they can see that the youth has a potential to change this country. You see? So that's why they're creating as many political parties as possible. And then they see an influencer, someone from Instagram saying, okay, we're going east. They know who this one has influenced. They pay that guy. We're going east song. Hey, because we're following that guy. Yeah. Remember, he's influencing us. We're wearing these brands, all those brands because of him. Then we're following him. But when as a youth, when a junior, as part of the youth, have you given yourself time to engage with the manifestos of the political parties?
I won't lie.
That's very important, bro. You cannot just be voting without knowing. Because some people can actually tell you within their political manifesto that we're actually going to be corrupt. Do you know that? Because they can actually write that and use, big terms, try to hide the entire thing. Yes.
That's the problem.
They can tell you straight. Then after voting for them, then you'll be like, why are you doing this? Then they tell you, when you read our manifesto and you gave us a vote, meaning you agreed with us. Are you engaging with their manifestos? That's what I'm asking. So our problems, bruh, we have so many problems as the youth.
So now, what
and ignorance is the governing factor of our problems.
Legit, that's how we are. So now,
yes.
I want to know, man, because I've been asking myself this question so many times. This one time I stumbled upon Parliament. They had a meeting there, so they were broadcasting it.
Yep.
I forgot this old Matima's name.
Hey.
He said that it's so painful how the country, the youth, the future of this country is going, because most of them don't pay real attention to politics and what is actually happening that side. He then mentioned that politics, that's where we shape how the country is going to be like.
Exactly.
That's where we shape how we want the country to be like. And if people are shying away from politics and going to businesses and stuff like that, forgetting that politics can also twist the economy just like that.
You've touched on where I was going. So speaking of economy and politics, you see these two, bruh, that's the problem that we're faced with as a country. That's where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted to take it actually, and give maybe a clear view on what needs to be done in terms of what needs to be done within us as a youth, what we need to see.
Yeah.
Because you cannot understand politics without understanding the past, because a mind that stays in the present moment never undergoes sufficient development to attain or acquire a certain aspect known as thinking. So we are bound to be thinkers, and in order to be a thinker, you must understand the future, you must understand the past, you must understand the present. And in order to understand the future, you cannot understand the future without understanding the present, like in the past. So our past was structured in this way. The way, what's that? Codesa negotiations, I forgot the entire term. That's where it started, right? Okay, let's try to stopping apartheid, right? That's where we were represented by the Abatwana, they were represented by their chief. Tina were represented by ANC, because I don't believe that I fall within any tribe. And by the way, I don't hate the ANC. I don't hate them at all. I just hate the people who are currently in power, who are driving a narrative that we were fighting for, that the likes of Abu Chris Hani died for. This is the narrative that we should be fighting for as a youth. That the youth of 1976 took it upon themselves and say, to hell with the system. That's what we are fighting for until this day. Those struggles are still within us. They are structuralized. We call them institutionalized oppression. They are within the policies. The oppression is no longer directly imposed onto you. It's within the policies right now. It's by Shah underground, young tall.
Yeah.
So what happened is that during those negotiations, funny enough, the person who's now presiding over the affairs of this country, the current statement, the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, was the chief negotiator during that time.
Yeah, that's true.
During the Codesa negotiations, he was the chief negotiator from the ANC wing, right? And then they reached a conclusion, or more of a consortium or a conclusion in a way to say, okay, Tina, we will give you political power. Take that political power, it's fine. But don't touch the economy. We are going to own the economy. It will belong to the minority, the bourgeoisie, those ones who are presiding over this country, who are staying in Stellenbosch, a group, a clique, imperialists are going to preside over the affairs of this country. And then you get political power. And Tina was saying political power without economic power is meaningless. That's why Abu Chris Hani was saying, no man, we cannot settle for this. What happened to Chris Hani? No history. They got assassinated, they were killed. It's fine, we move from that. And then we settled, right? The statement, remember, it's the statement, and he was the chief negotiator during that time. Then we had presidents. The late Nelson Mandela, may his soul rest in peace, presided over this country close to 3 years, if not 2. He resigned. We had Thabo Mbeki, who were pushing economic whatsoever. I forgot the actual term. They served their term. Then we had Abo Msholozi, who tried to benefit black people, who said, no, we're going to balance the forces. Instead of us giving to those people, right, Abo Msholozi, who understood, okay, we can use political power to attain economic, political freedom to attain economic freedom. That's what they thought. And then we know what happened to them. They were deemed by the very same media that were, relying on today. Today is corrupt in whatsoever. Today they are collapsed. I mean, not even collapsed. They've resigned. They were taken out of office because they were driving a narrative that favored us as Mablacks, which is what socialism, pushing a narrative of saying, Tina, we need to own the means of production. We need to own the land, because without the land, me and you will forever suffer. Makufika January, we won't be able to build my universities lawaning. And we won't be able to capacitate the state. My universities won't be able to capacitate the state in terms of job opportunities. Won't be able to employ our people. That's why each and every year we'll have matriculants like 700,000 sitting for an exam, but close to 100,000 people get accepted at universities, because that's now my universities. Everything is being presided over by. It's being presided over by the Stellenbosch mafia. Those ones who are imperialists, who are presiding over this country, who are owning almost everything. I can tell you right now, from how, even right now, last corner, like within this room, I product less from those people. These are settlers, by the way. They came here through colonization. Who were natives in this country. They found us in this country. They took over. They stole all the means of productions, all the means of resources within this country, and now they are presiding over us. They are giving you political power. And when you have the economic power, you can actually change laws. You can shape my laws, because my laws are structured a parliament. You can say, pay. There's a ruling party. You pay them. Pay the person who's presiding over the ruling party and say, Chief, here's 1 billion. Sifuna law leto sinyalo akunamudla tashi land yethu. Sifuna law leto uthi everything must be privatized. You pass it through parliament. The ruling party, they have close to 300 seats at parliament. They pass that law. Those ones who within the opposition benches, no matter opposer, they will lose, because it's a democracy. Remember, it's a numbers game. They lose. My mandates last Stellenbosch, they get passed over. They oppress us, Mablacks. Everything is being privatized right now, bruh. Asqalela, there are students who are I'll focus on students the most, because I give me youth it's us. I believe that as a youth we need to get educated, because education, but in the first duty of a revolutionary is to be educated. And I believe that us as the youth, that's what Che Guevara said, I believe that us as the youth, we are bound to be educated, because we are the ones who have the power to change this country. I've already talked about the numbers. Young Todd, youth, you get someone like over accepted AUCT right now. It's January. They are going to UCT. This person is going to use the bus, which is a private company, going to pay close to 2,000 to e-bus. Well, whereas they could have used a state train or a straight plane ESAA, which is collapsed, right? By the way, it's collapsed, it's gone. We no longer have our own state planes right now. They are gone. We have, as a country right now, we have my institutions that own a country that are presided over by the country. The state-owned entities are being privatized each and every day. SAA is gone. Meaning, when as a student, if you're a first-time entering student, you come from a poor family. You can't afford. Remember, NSFAS clears you as soon as you get to school, and after about 3 months, you don't have the money to go to school right now. Tickets, you have to book tickets to go to UCT. Maybe it's a flight or more bus tickets. You pay close to 3,000, whereas you could have used a state-owned train. But at least close to 290. It's 290. It was 290 to use a train from Nelspruit to Cape Town. Right now, you have to pay 2,000. So you see how these issues are affecting us. We need the state to preside over everything, including the land, including the mineral resource, the means of productions, including the mineral resources, so that the state can actually capacitate itself, can centralize the power, can actually empower me and you. Right now it becomes difficult. That's why back about corrupt, because it's quite difficult for us. State is under 10%. Maybe we're making 100,000 for it's just an example. Tina as a state is taller 1,000. We're expected to feed a majority, which is close to maybe 40-something million people. We must preside over them. As now, my means of production, income yonke state to a certain clique, a certain group of imperialists.
So giving us like peanuts. Actually.
Exactly. As a state, we're getting peanuts. So it becomes difficult, really. At the end of the day, but result of corruption, because even now themselves, they cannot sustain themselves. It's not enough. I got enough lemal to sustain state. So all I'm saying is our problems are rooted to the current policies, the policies that were imposed onto us during the negotiations of Codesa. And in order for us to change the narrative is for us to vote for a political party that will say, Tina Lana, we are going to use the political power that we have to change the narrative, to change how the dynamics are structured in South Africa, to actually attain the economic freedom. Young tall. It's going to honor the means of production. It's honor the means of, everything is belonging to the state. The state will divide it amongst ourselves. Land is very important, brah.
Yeah.
Land is very important. I don't even want to take it lanikazi because we're going to smanya nilila. It's a section because
have you seen Alex, my dog?
Brah. As now my section la.
Hey, sorry, Alex.
Exactly. Brah. We should have having one sections about Smile 1, Smile 2. Lapho bekutongena amabhasi kube nama-job opportunities, kube nama-malls, kube all that. We can't because there are private companies that are presiding over this location. Bafake hlahla all over la. 80% of this land lana is being presided over by my private owned companies who are not employing bantpala esabi, by the way. It's only a few. I employ bantpala. I don't want to mention names because kubanga say degrader or something like that. But you can see, what's happening like Lokshin. You have companies that are presided la nekati, but they are not employing bantpala Lokshin. These are the issues we should be talking about as a youth. What's our stance as a youth? And we have other entities within the ruling party who are claiming to be so-called unions of youth, who are claiming to say, we're championing youth. Whereas they're not championing youth, they're championing their leadership. Each and every weekend, Baba tell ma e-wallets there. Black label, that's what they care about, and go there online, post about national to national, provincial to provincial. Youth are struggling. These are the pending issues we should be talking about. But anyway, I don't mean to be emotional. I don't want to be emotional. We're just discussing politics, and I'm telling you, as a youth, we're affected by politics. The youth is bound to engage in politics. Now, it's now or never, brah.
So now, what is like the mindset apart from? Okay, let's just say. Politics are there. Yeah. Let's move politics now.
In terms of being independent as a youth.
Yeah. What are the characteristics that you think us as the youth should develop from now on in order for us to know this is the right thing? Let me just put it straightforward. Yeah. Out there we having these things now we watching the media.
Yep.
The media is pushing us into bums, it's pushing us into twerker. It's pushing us into alcohol, it's pushing us into groove. Now, what are the mindsets that we as the youth should have in order to we should move in a certain way? Because I don't know the exact question.
Bro, like I've spoken a mouthful, I understand. But then as a youth, bro.
Yeah.
Resilience. We must draw inspiration from the youth of 1976. That's the youth that should be inspiring us today. Tina, good food is simple because we don't have to use rocks, we don't have to fight them using guns and all that. But then it'll get to that point. Revolution is inevitable at this point. It is inevitable. We are going to revolt as the youth at some point. But for now, we can use what we have, the powerful tool that we have, which is media. If you can say as a youth, strive at this narrative right now. If you can say as a youth, we're taking a stance, we cannot allow my banks from the westernized countries to come here and manipulate our rand. It's too late as a youth. If you can say we must take a clear stance as a youth to say we have to address these issues. The actual time is now, bruh. There's no better time than now for us to be united. Okay, I understand. Now myself, I'm a proponent of the strategic waters of social importance. I drink alcohol. It's fine, which is a good thing. Wait. Oh, you want that term? It is the strategic waters of social importance. We're trying to settle in peace. Yeah. So I'm a direct proponent of that. But then we must also remind the youth, in as much as we are direct proponents of, the waters of Moria. There's so many names.
Waters of immortality.
Yeah, the waters of immortality. But then, social gatherings, the programs of young people, we ought to remind ourselves, hey, Chief, are you taking a stance? What's your stance on the pending issues that we're faced with? We're approaching national elections. We might have a new president. We don't know what's going to happen. There might be a civil war. What's your stance, brah, Chief? Take a stance. Make a decision right now.
No.
The time is now. We ought to be united right now. With these issues instead of discussing with brah. Those things.
Yeah.
Okay, brah, you can do it vandaag. What saddens me the most is that it's not you who's going to feel the pain. Right now, when we're going to survive, maybe we can't move around. When there's a civil war, you can maneuver around them. But the generation that's coming after us,
that's the thing.
They'll ask you. You'll sit with your child when 20 years from now. As Pap, country collapse. They told us this country was once a developing country. Right now, we're in a state where even Western Zimbabwe. What did you do, Papa? What did you try to do to entice the youth that you had during that time to actually take a clear stance to say, let's try to save the little that we have of our country? Because by that time, your child went over 100 rand, 200 rand. As Papa, stop. Because to book of newspapers are really back. Youth and you are well conscientized. They'll research and say, there was a point where you guys were buying bread with 9 rand. Today we're buying bread with 200. Today, I was couldn't afford a flyer. There was once a state-owned entity called SAA, which catered for my black people who, like, Muntu Mnyamba, connect fly from Venda to whatsoever or to England. Like, my prices were reasonable. Right now, it's now in a flight here to Tina. We're using Fly Emirates. We can't afford electricity because by that time, Eskom as well will be privatized. What did you do, Papa, during that time to stop this from happening? So right now, Pastrata, Shita, Tweka, Ratripa, Reese, yeah. So now by myself, I'm a musician, yes. But right now, time to play is, I don't want to use that term but time to play is fucked up.
Yeah,
it is fucked up. Right now, we need to use the next 5 months as well as in a platform. I have 10 people who are following me because of my music. At least I did something. If the 10 people are not going to win, but it's guys, it's a who will learn. If it's solo so as youth, it's indecisive. You cannot leave Moshe spoil my ballots and do all that. We will have a coalition government. And we may think it's a good thing, it's a bad thing actually, because you're going to fight for my president in 1 year. From June, not from next year. I'm not talking about things that are going to happen next year. From June this year. You book this month, this is your president. This month, the only president like Sugama civil war. Country becomes Western Zimbabwe. This country was once one of the greatest countries in Africa. Today it has been collapsed. Pastrat. That time you won't be able to afford alcohol, because remember it's private owned. It's not a state company. No, I'm not referring to you directly. I'm just saying you, because right now we youth won't be able to afford alcohol because young bamba say affording labo who are within that class. Because remember, we have to ask the question, each time what's in democracy, you must ask who who does it favor? Is it democracy for us as a youth, as the blacks, or democracy for a certain group of elites, the the rich class? It does not favor us, even the current democracy that we have, and it's gonna be worse this time around. If we're indecisive the way we are, it's going to be worse, bro. These are the issues we should be like the pending issues we should be touching on.
Yeah, and I feel like remember when we were coming this side,
yeah,
I was talking to you about people should actually leave like the pool makers. They should actually go out and see what is actually happening.
Exactly. Experience the actual world, bruh. Because I understand with the NKs we are confined. Even the material conditions, they are confining us as well. We are not a well-developed city. As soon as you get out, we want other places, and see with you, bruh, you can actually be far. And then you get to realize with most of the things that we are faced with, Lanisab, most of the things, it's the leadership, right? It's just fail a big dismally. It's failing us, bro. So, like, you get to realize, I don't want to talk about politics too much right now. It's just Kulumenge youth general. Like, Puma Pride location, it's very important. You get to have a different perspective about certain things. That's why when you approach Bandu, it becomes difficult to actually entice them to say, "Bruh, are you taking part in politics? Are you being patriotic? Are you taking part in the current state of affairs? Are they affecting you? We are not feeling that pain, because we are not seeing things and seeing other countries, even not even getting out per se. You can actually make a research, reading, engaging. That's what I'm saying with Mina. Most of our problems, are centralized and governed to ignorance. Ignorance is the key element of our problems, of the problems that we are faced with within this country. If you can find a way to eradicate, not even alleviate, it must be eradicated, ignorance. And ignorance, the only way to curb or stop ignorance is to actually get educated. Not educated in a way that you must go to an higher learning institution. No, you must have people within the location. You take that part. I'm going to use my music to conscientize my people, to enlighten my people. I'm okay. All the platforms that we have, where I preach, I'm going to use this platform because as Mfundis, remember when we doctor of society, we are like a teacher. We are a doctor of society. So when use that platform, okay, we understand Jesus Christ, and I'm a Christian by the way, is coming back. But right now, the issues that we're faced with, what I like about the Christianity, it tells you, Bible actually, God helps those who help themselves. He only helps those who help themselves. If on total, so us, we must take a stance, lad. How are we going to help ourselves? God just told us. Let's take a stance now, bruh. The time is now. We're going to preach these things. There are people who were victimized, who died trying to preach the very same gospel that we are preaching today. Because there are people who feel like we're going to tamper with their pockets because they're now conscientizing the youth.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of as well.
But we can't live in fear. You cannot live in fear. Either way, all of us are going to die. Yeah. Maybe that's what some of us are destined to do. So like Abu Park. Tupac, by the way, it was not gang violence. We didn't even go there. I don't believe it was gang violence. Because Tupac, there was a point where he was preaching about, a state, telling blacks to say, the time for us to unite is now. It was during that time, Abu Malcolm X, during that time. He was preaching that gospel, going all around saying black people are out to unite right now. We are, like, it's actually it's a state of urgency for us to unite right now. And they died for that. They tell you with their driving narrative it was gang violence. It's not gang violence. Until this day, we don't know why Abu Bantu Biko were killed, Stephen Biko, Abu Krisani. But then deep down, if you get to engage, then you see what this person died in pursuit of the emancipation of black people, the poor marginalized blacks. That's what they died for. And the list
said a lot.
Said a lot. I needed to speak about these issues.
It's something that we ought to look at. Yeah. And I'm telling you now, as soon as we're done with the episode, I'm going to sit down there and
please
register to vote.
It does not have to be, maybe you may think this one is driving narrative. That's why I said, I gave you an opportunity and said, go and read all their manifestos, bruh. Engage with them and see, okay, this one maybe is saying, I'm going to do this and that. How does it entice us? How does it build us as a youth? Does it actually benefit us? You must read. Right now, I believe that we are capable to actually determined between who's okay. This one, Lona is just selling us dreams. Okay. This is just propaganda, man. This one is lying to us. Cannot come in South Africa and say we're going to build state mansions. We are lying to the people. There's no such thing as state mansions right now. It's just propaganda. We're driving a narrative. We're lying to the masses. So we were as a youth. That's why I'm saying mini youth. I'm not focusing. You see, our parents, Bashiel. I've already touched on that because when I'm done, so right now we ought to take that stance and say, okay, 2024 we try to structure Zamil, this is a really country to bra. Because if you look at it that way, bra, going to a coalition government whereby one community power to say as Mfundo as a president, that's going to start mass civil wars in this country, bro. This country won't be stable. Civil wars, even this thing that we're trying to build, this platform, it breaks the balance of forces. It will be collapsed because they won't want to associate with us. Seeing us united within this country. You must have a clear stance, bro. Please engage, Bafet. Engage political literature. Don't let these people come and lie to you. We are going to build Mama Lona, Nama 350 and all that. No. Read their manifestos. Understand what they stand for. Analyze when we have that power, bro. If you feel like you don't understand, us Labasatigo, even us with the little knowledge that we know, you come and engage with us and say, hey chief, what does this person mean, Malu? Then we'll try to analyze and say, no man, this is unattainable. It's highly impossible for this person to actually attain this. It's highly impossible considering the current state of affairs. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's the type of unity that we need as a youth. Must be unified in that sense. Because June is just across the country. I'm telling you.
And I want to drop this episode in fact, like before the elections even come through.
Yeah, bro. Like, because June is just around the corner. We're at the right now. Smell like this country can be better. Can actually be the way it is. Can actually be a state of emergency whereby we will be seeing our UN trucks here, about gifts of the givers, and bloody bomb all over. We're in that state right now, and that's what pisses me off because youth like bone gongelo.
Yeah.
Like bone gongelo.
So blinded.
Yeah. So let's engage, guys. Let's go back to our roots. Let's shape. Let's read. Engage. True leaders are readers. We must read. Engage with the literature. We are youth. We are the leaders. So I know for a fact that we are the leaders of this society. Because we can drive a narrative. Even this, in terms of music, each genre dependent on us as a youth. They cannot use the ones who are within the age range of our 40s, 50s to promote music. They use us as a youth. They depend on us. If we say Nyalomati Amapiano are popping, it's us the youth. It's going to pop. Even the old people are going to listen to Amapiano because the youth said we are listening to Amapiano. Why are you not driving a narrative to say no one is going to touch this country? They will try to die. They will try to hack. Get out of this country. Said. That's what I'm saying. Spoken a mouthful, bro. Spoken a mouthful. I didn't even touch on my brand, on my music, because I told you that right now we're driving a narrative. Cannot be giving music, telling people that, hey, okay, I already spoke about gaslight. Yes, hey, gaslam smile whatsoever. But why are we not touching on the pending issues? This mean, besides saying, hey,
why are we touching on the small?
We're always touching on those issues. Hey, keeper in shire, and you're proud of that. And I'm even ashamed now because I'm part of the people. By the way, I'm ashamed because I would speak about it on songs and tell people good hey, Puzama Black and all that. Hey, Sapshai, Kasi, hey, Ini, hey, Maslake, all that. And when you made it a culture, which is wrong, bro. You also have to conscientize our people. Remind them, hey, bro, Kasi to so use the music. And you're an artist, bro. An artist, if you're a true artist, bro, you will find a way to write a song about the pending issues that you're faced with. Unless if you're a fake artist, if you rely on rapping about things you don't even own, you see them. Yeah, Visage, what? Yeah. You don't even own those things. Faranam, you come from a shack. You don't even have Danon. But you come there and chill out, hey, Visage, all that. Let's talk about the pending issues that we're faced with. Yeah. Please push content here. So you say, Sifuni kasi
This is what we want.
If not connect save the country is save the cars.
Legit, man.
Yo, Major said a mouthful, but me let's make the episode that kind of hard, basically.
Yeah,
But now, man, he's touched on some topics that a lot of people were afraid
I'm
to talk,
already taking
to talk
over.
about.
Sorry, man.
Nah, it's
Let's
no
just
problem.
wait for the interviewer to interview me. Ask
Nah. Baba, this was the point. It was like, you have to say what you have to say. You have to say what you have seen throughout the year.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah, well, me, I'm here now. I've actually learned something from you, yeah, bro.
I'm glad that you're doing
Because
something.
I didn't really take this thing of voting serious at some point,
Very serious.
and
Very
now I
important.
see that to avoid a whole lot of things, I need to vote. Yeah, well. So with that being said, man, he's Major King. He's gonna give us a small performance after here, and you guys are gonna definitely get this episode before we start the elections. So, man, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified whenever I post. We love you guys. Please stay tuned. Subscribe.
Last but not least, 2024 is our 1994. Thank you very much.
Hey, you said what you needed to say.